Well, there goes Iowa. How about that? I'm not going to do the I told you so thing like a lot of you thought I was going to, judging by my inbox. It's just that this is why the power rating world is different than the rankings world. Because Iowa was never the second best team in the country, although it was perfectly fine to rank them number 2. But yesterday, you saw what happens. You want a padlock stat? Here's the beginning and the ending of it. -3 turnovers. So Iowa rode a wave of turnover magic and special teams magic. All the while, they were totally inferior offensively. This is not telling Iowa fans anything they don't know. The misconception was that formula was duplicable throughout a whole season. And it's not. It never will be. It never was. It didn't even need to be that extreme yesterday, guys. They didn't get beat 24-23. They got beat 24-7. So -3 turnovers, I would suggest to you, even if it was just even in turnovers, they were going to have a dogfight on their hands. That is Iowa. When you're that bad offensively, if you don't get the turnover breaks, even Purdue is going to push you to the very limit, or in this case, beat you by double digits. So now where is Iowa? So now that we've come off this notion held by some that they were going to be a playoff contender, which they never were going to be, now we can get real about them. Because I can tell you they probably won't drop in the JP poll because we had them properly rated. But they've still got to go to Wisconsin. They've still got Minnesota. Hoomst, by the way, controls their own destiny in the Big Ten. Florida of Rosedale is going to be great this year. And you know that's my favorite trophy game. Florida of Rosedale, favorite trophy game. They've also got to go to Nebraska. They'll be dogs in 2, if not all 3 of those games. So just keep an eye on Iowa. It is a long season. Try and tell you guys, the month of October feels like it's about 6 weeks long. The month of November feels like it's about 13 weeks long if you're in contention. It takes so much gas to get to this point, but so many teams have about half a tank to 3/4 of a tank of gas, and they cannot make it through this stretch. And that's what Iowa's finding out right now. Michigan State made it yesterday, though. Michigan State 20, Indiana 15. Now, I have mixed emotions about this. As you know, I was on Indiana plus 4.5. Naturally, they lose by 5. But the game played out exactly how we thought it would. Michigan State shouldn't win this game. Here's why it's significant. They did win the game. They pulled an Iowa out of their back pocket, as a matter of fact. We got the exact kind of game. The model got the exact kind of game we expected. Michigan State got outplayed. Listen to this. Indiana had 10 more first downs. They had 81 more yards, 26 more plays run. Michigan State, sloppy. 12 penalties, 134 yards. But Michigan State had 13 defensive points in a 20-point effort. And that's all it took because they played good enough defense. And so this is a game that the box score suggests and the post-game win percentage suggests you should not have won. But you won it. You got to win 1 or 2 of these. If you don't have superstar athletes, you've got to win something where you play a C-plus game. And it's got to involve this kind of stuff. And so Michigan State got it done. Well, now they removed the last obstacle out of the way that was standing between them and hosting Michigan undefeated. Now, Michigan's got to play Northwestern this week. Crazier things have happened. Michigan should handle Northwestern. And if they do, we've got undefeated Michigan at undefeated Michigan State October 30th. I don't know if you're watching, but if you are, I licked my lips twice. It's not just because the air is dry in here. By a humidifier. It's not just because the air is dry in here. It's because I may be up there. Let's see. Auburn. Bo Nix. Should we clap? They tell me not to do it in the microphone, but 38-23. Auburn went to Arkansas. They got to win. Arkansas is beat to death. They have no legs under them. Having said that, Auburn hadn't had a bye either. And they played some tough games too. So I thought this was an equal matchup. Auburn ended up winning the thing 38-23. I think they scored late. Very impressive drive to do so. Auburn and Brian Harsin. It's one of the quietest, most under-the-radar stories in America right now. There's something happening at Auburn. It's not going to culminate in some great playoff run this year, but they are a 2-loss team right now. I would have to look at our latest power rankings, which I haven't looked at. They may be our highest-rated 2-loss team, maybe, but they're improving. Anytime I do a radio hit and the host asks about a year 1 coach, what are we looking for this year? That's it. It's so basic. Improvement. Incremental, week-over-week improvement. This is a better team than the one that went up to Penn State and lost about a month ago. They're better. And now they're battle-tested, too. They've already gone to Penn State, to LSU, to Arkansas. They played Georgia. Now they got a bye week. And they get shot out of a cannon into their bye week. Bo Nix played maybe the best game we've seen him play, easily on the road. It was the best we've seen him play. He had an 81% completion percentage yesterday, and that is his best road completion percentage ever. I don't think many people saw that coming when he got benched a few weeks ago, but see, that's the thing. And what needs to be talked about more with Bo Nix, so I'll talk about it right now, is he didn't fold. Some people are mental accordions, and as soon as something doesn't go their way, especially at a position like quarterback, they fold. They disappear. They're like Coach Klein. They go get a hot pretzel. Hashtag Waterboy. Bo Nix not only stayed ready, when he came back in, he leaned into it even more. He's gotten even more focused. He's even better now than he was before he got benched for TJ Finley. And so congratulations to Bo Nix, but also it's year one under Brian Harsin. They are not running the ball down people's throats like you may think they are. They have a bad receiver room by SEC standards. They've already fired the receivers coach this year. And yet when that happened, and you would expect all that inner turmoil to fester into a bad on-field product, they started winning. That's the hallmark of a good coach. I don't know how it's going to pan out long-term for Brian Harsin at Auburn, but I'm telling you the year one returns are very encouraging. This is the kind of stuff you look for to validate that you hired the right guy. So if I'm Alan Green, I could not be happier with what I'm seeing right now. So big win yesterday. Big win for Auburn. Moving on to Oklahoma, they beat TCU 52-31, and some validation here too of the way that we were thinking post-Texas. You cannot quantify what I'm about to say. The stat crowd hates what I'm about to say. The analytics crowd will not process what I'm about to say. But I was a believer, and still am, that there was a switch that was flipped in the Texas game for Oklahoma. Again, it is intangible in nature. It is non-quantifiable. There's no stat category for it. I just believe those things happen, and I believe we are seeing it with Oklahoma right now. And so this game was never in doubt yesterday. They go and beat TCU 52-31. Caleb Williams, no room to question the decision here eventually. Better late than never. From Lincoln Riley. He went 18 for 23, 295, 4 touchdowns. This is the starter for Oklahoma, and he will be the starter for Oklahoma. And laughingly, some people thought that was still up in the air for debate up until kickoff yesterday, but it wasn't. The question about them being Oklahoma, the question about Oklahoma is not quarterback anymore. The question is about secondary, because they are badly banged up in the secondary. They're missing a ton of guys. That's why people can score on them right now. I'm not telling you it'll cease to happen once they get those guys back, or if they do, but right now Oklahoma's secondary is not a championship caliber product by any stretch. Fortunately, who do they play? They go to Kansas Saturday, so that's like going to the playground. And then they got Texas Tech, then a bye week. Hopefully, when they come out on the other side of that bye week, there are a few more blanks filled back in, or there are a few more of those crossed out names uncrossed out in the secondary. What did I drop? Hopefully nothing important. So Oklahoma wins, and then on the flip side of this whole Red River deal, I think it's unfair scheduling, but it sounds like I'm complaining, so I won't, I'll talk about it for a second. Texas lost 32-24 to Oklahoma State. Look, I'm just not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of having the biggest rivalry game in your conference and then allowing a participant from that game to play a rested team the following week. I know no one feels sorry for either of these teams out in the Big 12. I know you guys don't. But I do just a little bit, even if they have all the advantage in the world over you. So I get it. I get why you don't really care about me saying that. But it was another week, and it was another double-digit lead wasted away for the University of Texas. 32-7, I want to say, was the run Oklahoma had to close last week's game. Oklahoma State closed this game on a 19-0 run. Texas was up 17-3. Full disclosure, I stopped paying attention a little bit when they were up 17-3. And then they threw a pick six, and then things kind of changed. The whole tenor of the game kind of changed. They had 4 straight 3-and-outs in the second half. The thing about Texas right now, you saw it last week. It's like they have a sugar high out of the gate. It's happened a couple of times. And then all of a sudden they get out there, and all of a sudden the wind's out of the sails, the sugar high's worn off, and now it's just up to you, and they ain't got it. Defensively, they run out of gas. Offensively, I don't know what in the world happens, but they lack consistency. They can't stay on that gas pedal for 4 quarters, or at least they haven't the last couple of weeks. I know that this should be about Oklahoma State. I get it. They're still undefeated. I don't know where they're ranked today. Colin's my AP guy. I don't even look at the AP. But I assume they're ranked high. They should be. They're undefeated. They go to Iowa State Saturday, just to give you an idea of why we don't have them power rated high. They are nearly a touchdown underdog Saturday against two-loss Iowa State. I have Iowa State rated above them. I will have Iowa State this week power rated above Oklahoma State. That doesn't mean anything. As long as you win your games, it doesn't mean anything. It's just Oklahoma State's a good, solid team that happens to be undefeated right now. I'm not hating on them. There is no natural proclivity to hate on a team from Stillwater, Oklahoma when you grow up in Harris County, Georgia. It's just not there, so I don't have any animus. I keep looking in the inbox, and I keep seeing people ask me why I'm not respecting Oklahoma State. I'm talking about them right now. It's not about respect. People who complain about and demand respect in life are some of the most tiresome people that you will ever run across. Have you ever noticed, think about this, I'm not talking about Oklahoma State anymore, just a general observation. Think about the most respected people that you know, and when's the last time you heard them ask for respect? There's correlation there.